Hello everyone. Today's session is on continuation of a looping what we have been just seen in the yesterday's session. Let me just quickly run with a recap of yesterday's session. Yesterday we have been seeing about while, what is a syntax for a while, and how to avoid infinite looping going in an while condition. What is the syntax for loop? And we have been stopped there by having typing single letters in a Python and typing a string of letters in a list. So that the thing what we have been just seen in an yesterday's video. Some of them are saying that the audio is not clearly visible. I have been just checked with the audio thing. You can just wear your headphones while attending the classes. So rest of the thing is fit and fine. So if you are having any doubts, you can just comment in Google Classroom. So today is a continuation of a for loop. What are all the other scenarios which have been available in for loops? And we are going to see about nested loops, examples for other examples for loop, and then other examples in a nested loops. Let me take a pen here. So else in the for loop. So else part in a for loop. So you are knowing a syntax for a for. So for iteration variable in sequence or in a list. So the sequence which are being generated by the user. You need to give one tab and you are going to write a statements here. And you are having a else part as well. So you can use the else part as you have been used in and while. But what this else is going to do is, see, consider the sequence of list have been given here. That is, it is going to execute 4 times. So at the 0th position, it is having a sequence. It will execute this. The result will be stored and it will be incremented for the next one. It is going to execute this. Results is stored. So it is going to be taken the next value. It is executing this statements and the results is going to be stored. So after executing the third one, the result will be stored. So the next sequence is not available. So during this time, the compiler will come out of the loop and it will execute the else statement. So this is the usage of else. So whenever the sequence have been ended, so the sequence have been ended, it is going to be execute a statement in else part. So you can just see this as an example. Let me just show how exactly this example is going to be work for us in an PyCharm. Okay, let me just take a new scratch file here. We can rename it. So I can rename it as day6. Okay. We can take a list 0, 1, 2, 3, or you can generate in a range itself. So for I in range 5. So you are going to print the values of iteration else. I is greater than 5. So we can just have this. So the value of iteration will be starting from 0 to 4. So after finishing this sequence, so the sequence here, the generated value sequence will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So after executing this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, so this will be ending the for loop. So after this, it will be coming out of a loop and it is going to execute the else part. So this is like usage of a else. After having one full execution of a for loop, if you need to notify the user that it has been completed some task, you can go for a else part. And this is an added advantage which have been provided in an Python. So this is a usage of a else. Okay, we can just go for another one here. Okay, let me full screen this. Take a pen. Okay, else part. So I guess this have been just cleared with an else execution. So next one is like nested loops. So Python allows many loops inside a single loop. See, consider the nested loops is like you are having one for loop here. So X in sequence. So inside a for loop, you can give one tab and you can have another for loop. So this is like the thing. So you can write statements for this for by providing one tab. After having the statements, you can switch to this for loop. You can give one tab and write a statements like this. So this is a nested loop for. So in the same manner, you can have for while also. So we can give some expression here. By giving one tab, you can write another while expression. So like this, the nested version you can write. For this line, you can give one tab and write a statement like this. So it also allows the combination of both for and while. So for X in sequence, you can give one tab and write while here. So you can give one tab, you can write a statements here. For this one tab and you can write a statements here. So this is nested version of a respective usage of a for loop inside a while loop, or you can use both nested versions of a for or only the nested versions of a while, or you can use a combination of for and a whiles, or for with so many whiles, or while with so many fors and all. Okay, for this we can just see an example for going to this for loop. Okay, before going to this, if you are having, if you found that this example is too much small, you can have another bigger example. You can take some list of odd numbers. So these can be the list of odd numbers. So now you can use a for loop. So number in list, you can change the name here, list one. So I can use for number modulus 2. So least as even numbers, else we can say that least has only odd numbers. So here you are having a list 1, 3, 5, 77, 87, 23. Basically this program is to find the even number or odd. Even number is present in list. So to find the even number, its remainder should be 0 when you have been divided the list by 2. When you are going to divide any number by 2, if it is remainder is 0, then it is definitely a even number. So first I have been taken a for loop for number in list 1. So this is a iteration variable, it is no need to declare. List 1 is a sequence, you need to declare it. So this is a sequence. So this is a sequence of odd. So now we are having a simple if condition. If number of modulus, I am checking a reminder here. If the first one has been taken 1 divided by 2, so the remainder won't be equal to 0. So it is not an even number. So like in the same manner 3, 5, 7, 87, 99 is going to be checked. So after 99 it is going to come out of the loop and it is going to execute the else part. Let me see what is the state of it. So least has only odd numbers. So it is not having any of the even numbers here. So hence after having all this iteration, it is going to be tell that least has only odd numbers. So this is another example of usage of a list with an usage of a else with an usage of a user defined list. The next example is like we are going for nested loops. So as I've been explained, nested means one loop inside another loop. So you'll be having numerous loops inside a single loop. So you can have a for loop, while loop, or combination of both for and while. Okay, let me just take one of example here, saying that having a two for loops. I'm taking a two for loops for I in range 1, 11. So for j in range 1, 11. So both the loops are going to be executed 11 times. So I'm taking k is equal to I into j. So I is the iteration variable for first for loop, j is the iteration variable for second for loop, that will be multiplied and stored in k. That's all. A very simple program. So now I am going to print the values of a k. Print k. And I am just leaving one free path. So you can give this to for loop. Okay, in the material there is a term called end equals to comma. So what this term is going to do here is end equals to comma, just leaves a spaces by default, or else you are just giving a print this one, it is fine. There is no need of doing this. You are going to print the value of k and printing it. So for each iteration, the space have been given after finishing each iterations. Okay, the first one is like 1 into 1, 1. 1 into 2 is 2. So here, I value will be 1. It will be multiplied with j value. 1 into 1 is 1. So 1 into 2, 1 into 3, 1 into 4. Like this, the answer will be provided till 10. After printing this k value, it is the end of a for loop of j. Jth value will be ended. And you are going to print some blank. So this is a blank line due to the usage of this print. Next, I will be incremented. I value will be 2 now. So 2 into 1, j value will start from 1. 2 into 1. Next, 2 into 2. So I value is 2. So that is 2 into 1. So I will be constant here too. J is going to be increment till it reaches 1 to 10 values. So after this, again 3 value, I will be incremented by 1. Like this, it will reach the final state. Till it, I will be incremented till 10. So like this, you can use a nested for loops. Instead of a for, you can use a while here. Like this, you can just make a nested versions of a looping system. So loop control statements, we are having a loop control statements here. First one is break, second one is a continue, and the third one is a pass. So the break is a one which is going to be terminate unconditionally without checking any condition. It is going to break the execution of a for loop or break the execution of a main loop itself or a main code itself. Preferably, these types of coding has been not used in any of our real-time applications. We cannot break the execution unconditionally. But this is a control statement which have been used to stop the execution or stop the looping concept. So there is another term called continue. It is going to skip the remaining part of a looping system and go back to the checking condition part. So this pass is just a null statement. So instead of using any of our comments and all, we are going to make use of this keyword pass to just to have some time over there, and it is going to be pushed to the next line of execution. We can just see this in a detailed version. So the break statement is used to terminate the execution. So that is a first and foremost thing. So the current loop will be terminated whenever you are going to make use of this keyword unconditionally. It is not going to check any of the conditions over here. So the syntax here is just write break. Small letter B, R E A K. So this break can be used in both while and for loops. So it is having some of a flowchart here. So here you will be having some of a condition code. So this can be a condition code. So it is going to check some of a condition here. If the condition is true, you are going to have some true execution. If this condition is going to be entering any of a line, See, consider if this lines is having some 1000 lines at a 999, if the break is there, you are going to have to break the system. Having some condition, if it is true, it is going for a checking of it is going to execute the true statements. At some point of execution, if it is coming across any of a break statement over there, it is going to be unconditionally stop this looping system. So this is a loop, it will be stopped. So it can be for loop or it can be while loop. It can be used for both the conditions. So it is going to break the executions and stop the execution over there. Okay, we can just see one of example on this. So I am going for the same letter which you have been used earlier. Example, letter in Python, and you are giving colon here. Python is a small letter. If letter is equal to what? Sorry. If letter is equal to h, you are going to break a statement here. Break a statement, or else you are going to print current letter is, and you are passing letter. So this is like printing a variable and usage of a break. So this have been used for loop. For loop break has been used. I am using a letter is a variable in string python. First, it will take a p value. P value is not equal to h. It doesn't break. It will print a p here by saying current letter is p. Next, it will be incremented. Y is going to be taken. Y is compared with h. It is not equal. So it is not going to break a statement here. It is going to print the current letter is y. So next, it is going to check for t. T is not equal to h. It is not going to break. So the current letter is t. Next one is h. So here letter h is equal to h. So it is going to break. So loop is going to be break and coming out of a execution part. So you can just see pyt. So next execution is not going to happen because there is a break statement. It is going to break the current looping system. So as I told you earlier, so the current looping system is going to be breaked at one part of a true statements. So you will be executing some part. In that part, whenever the break is going to be coming into a picture, that current loop will be break and come out of the loop. So this is for loop. So in the same manner, you can just see for a while loop itself. While loop, the break is used. So next, we are taking a variable where is equal to done. So while variable greater than 0, print current value. So the current value you are going to print as var. Okay, then we need to decrease this var is equal to var minus 1. So now 10 means 10 times it is going to be executed. So whenever this var is equal to 4, we can break a statement. So like this. So this is for usage of a break in an while loop. So you have been assigned some value and you are checking whether it is greater than 0. So till it is greater than 0, it should execute. So you are going to print a current value 10 first. You are going to minus it. So the value will be equal to 9. So the 9 is not equal to 4. It doesn't break it. So 9 is going to be printed. Why? Because it's greater than 0. Afterwards it becomes 8. So 8 is not equal to 4. It doesn't break here. So 8 is greater than 0. So now the 8 is going to be printed. And again 8 minus 1 is 7. 7 is not equal to 4. So here the 7 is greater than 0. It is going to be printed 7. 7 minus 1 is 6. 6 is not equal to 4. It doesn't break here. So again here 6 is greater than 0. It enters the loop and it prints the 6 value. 6 minus 1 is 5. So 5 is not equal to 4. It doesn't break. So 5 is greater than 0. It enters the loop. 5 is printed. 5 minus 1 is 4. So 4 is equal to 4. Now the statement is break. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 5. That's all. So that is what you need to just print it here. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. So whenever this will be decremented by 1, it will be equal to 4 and it is going to be break. So in this case, you can use break statement for both for and a while loop. So this is the thing, and this is an unconditional usage of a break statement. Preferably we won't use it in any of a real-time application, but for some of smaller applications like students project or any kinds of mini projects, we are going to make use of this break statement. But it is not a good practice to usage of a break by becoming a good programmer. It should be avoided. Instead of this, you can make use of any of other analogies. You can just see those analogies in the later part of this internship. So the next break we have been just seen. So next one is a continue statement. So the continue is a one. Whenever this statement is going to be coming into a picture, it is going to skip the remaining part of the loop and it is going back to the checking condition. So if you are not understanding, let me show this in a figure here. So this is a conditional code. Whenever the code is true, condition is true, you need to execute these lines. So at some part of the code, there will be an keyword called continue. So what it happens whenever the continue is going to have coming into a picture. So this is a condition which have been checked. It can be for loop or it can be while loop. Whenever the condition is true, it is going to execute these lines. So at some part of execution, the continue is going to be coming into a picture. So whenever the continue is going to come into picture, see, consider you are having some 10 lines of a code. At the 8th line of a code, this continue have been coming into a picture. Instead of executing these two lines, this will be pushing to the checking of the condition. So this is called as an continue. So this is like one of statements which have been used, control statements used in a Python. Whenever this keyword is coming into a picture, it is going to skip some part of a execution and it is going for a checking of a condition. Let me just see the example of this one. So here, as usual, for letter in Python, I am taking. So I am going to print some of the letters. At some part of a time, I am checking whether that letter will be equal to some H or O. If that is going to happen, you need to continue it. Okay. if letter is equal to H, what I am going to do is continue, or else I am going to print current word is letter. So this is like usage of a continue. So first P is going to be taken. P is not equal to H. It doesn't go for continue. It is going to print current word is P. Later it will be incremented. Y is not equal to H. It is not going for a continue. It is going to print current word is Y. In the same manner, T is going to be checked. It is not equal to H. It is not going to execute this continue. It is going to execute the current word is T. Here comes a condition. Now H will be equal to H. So during this time, continue is going to happen. It is going to be executed. Instead of printing the H, it is going back to the condition. So that is what I am going to tell. The remaining part will be skipped when the continue is going to be executed. H is not going to be printed. The remaining part is printing that H word. As the condition is true, we are not going to print it. Next, O is not equal to H, again it will print, and N is not equal to H, again it will print, and it will stop the execution as the sequence have been ended. So you can just see here PYT, H is skipped. Why? Because when the condition is true, the continue is going to be executed. So this is one of another breakpoint which have been used in an Python. So the last but not least, the pass. So the pass statement, it is like a null operation. Instead of adding any of the comments or something like this, we are going to pass. We are going to use this pass. So it is like just pushing to the next words. So it is not going to harm the execution. It will just push to the next word. So this is a syntax is usage of writing this pass. You can just see this in an PyCharm. So the same thing, use for letter in word Python. You are checking if letter is equal to H. What you are going to do is you are going to pass, and you are saying that. So this is a pass block. So you're going to say that it is a pass block. Or else you can print that current letter is, and you can print letter. So this is like pass statement. It is just like a null instruction. It is not going to do any harm for an execution. It is going to stop at point, and within a fraction of a second it will be just passing the results. So okay, this should be inside this. So whenever, so first one is P is going to be checked with the H. It is not equal to H, so P is printed, current letter is P. In the same manner, Y is printed, T is printed. So at the point of this condition, pass is going to come into picture, and it is going to print. This is a pass block, and H O N. everything is going to be printed. So this is just like a null instruction. So whenever this pass is going to be used, it is just like some of a null operation. Nothing happens when it executes. So these are all the control structures which have been available in Python. So these are the things you can just use in an respective sessions. So from today's session, you will be getting some of an assignments. So you can just go through those assignments and submit the assignment same in a Google Classroom. So thank you for hearing this. I guess this is worth hearing for you. Just have a look of you in the next video. Thank you.